The fact that I get to sit and hang out with some of my favorite wrestlers and also you.
Yeah. Appreciate that. And, your honesty. That's what makes me want to be a part of this terrible show.
Well, I figure I've interviewed you so many times before.
It's very true.
I think it's like 16 or 17 times.
Holy
you guys
cow,
know
really?
this. Yeah.
All right.
So we're going to turn the tables here a little bit. You're going to be interviewing me.
Oh.
Yeah. And a lot of fans have written in questions on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. Although before we get to that, our last interview, we did it in your backyard in Phoenix.
In your backyard.
And thank you.
We're getting more and more intimate. My backyard, we're on the couch.
We're in a hotel room
Never,
now.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
It's a good hourly one.
You were like, I'm not going to be at the Royal Rumble, and everyone called you a liar.
Oh my God. That's a great, can I tell this story? When I talked to you, I was not booked for the Royal Rumble, and I have no reason to lie to anybody or be like, hey, listen, I don't know what the deal is, whatever. I was just on hiatus and got a call to be there.
That was the
And
day
if I
before.
wasn't in town for a booking for a comedy show that night, I would not have even been in Phoenix. Wow. And I got a call, the night before saying, hey, you got to get here.
Was this just to finish out your storyline with Drew McIntyre?
I'm not exactly sure, but it did go into it more. But also, I don't know that continues because I'm still just on vacation. So it was more, I think I was in town and I'm one of their guys and it happened to work out. So I got a double booking, double payday.
Not bad.
Yeah, WWE and the show. And it was really funny because, well, now that we're filming, I'll say it. I was one of the last people in the ring that night, and my comedy show 3 blocks away had to start an hour late because I was running over with sweat and my bags. I almost came in my gear, but I was like, I got to shower because someone will have to, there's a couple people on before me, but it was really cool. And that show was awesome, and that was really fun, and I'm sure you enjoyed it because I know I left a personal, one of a kind. I don't do comp tickets, and I went above and beyond to help you out because I think you're a good guy. Did you enjoy the show?
So, the Royal Rumble went so long.
Sorry,
and my flight was at 12:45 in the morning to fly back to Miami, which would get me in at like whatever time, 9, to then go straight to work, which is the crazy stuff I do to make this stuff happen. So, when the Rumble ended, I'm like, we have to go straight to the airport now. And my buddy's like, should we text Dolph? I'm like, he'll figure it out.
I was so freaking out and busy that night going, okay, you're here. This card's going to start here. We're going to start the show. You go in. So like I'm show running, but also not a real pro that has this stuff down. So I'm like, you do this, you do this, you do this. And I'm like going over my notes going, okay, where am I? What's my last name? Like, it's pretty freaky.
Hey, but you're not just a comedian. You're running these things too.
Attempting to. When it's DZ and friends, I have a bunch of things to put together. Otherwise, Sarah Tiana is doing a lot of the heavy lifting and dealing with promoters, getting things done, and getting the deals for us because she knows as she travels around the world. But a point you made where you were hustling to make that red eye back to just to go to work.
Yeah.
That's what makes me a fan of what you do. So we can be friends, we can know each other, but it's like at WWE or anywhere else or comedians, I appreciate people. Everyone goes on Instagram and says they're hustling and doing their work and doing their job and doing their stuff. But when you actually see people doing it and watching it pay off, that's what makes really awesome things happen. And that's why I'm like, hey, can we do this interview? Hell yeah, man. You're hustling to do some stuff. Absolutely. Whatever I can do.
And the backstory on this interview today is I texted you yesterday because I knew you were going to be in Naples. That's about a 2-hour drive from where I live on the other coast of Florida. And you're like, yeah, I've got a little bit of time before my show. So I drove over through Alligator Alley and everything. Woo. And then as soon as we're done, I will drive right back.
And that's great. You're hustling to get here, to get the interview, to go right back. I'm hustling to, did my media day, crashed for an hour, worked out, went to Perkins, got some eggs, came right back here, went over my notes. The second we're done, I'm going to go right to the club, do the VIP meet and greet, go over my notes like a psychopath, do the show, 5 a.m. out here, 5:30 a.m. out here.
This is legit hustling. That's what this is.
I'm trying to get better. It's fine.
You are. Are you enjoying your vacation?
Yes. Had I been sitting at home at any point in time for more than 4 days, I would have lost my mind because for the last 15 years, I haven't done that. For the last 8 or 9, it was nonstop not doing that. So I said if I was taking a vacation from work, I need to be working and doing things. And Sarah started rounding up shows. And 50% of all bookings have been word of mouth or through Twitter or Instagram, where a club goes, oh man, look at this, and they instantly reach out. Sarah goes, hey, we got another booking. A couple weeks goes by, some fan said they said something good, and I give them like one of these, like, hey, great job, and they go, hey, we got another booking here. So when the fans reach out and say something, or hey, can you come to Denver? Hey, can you do this? I go, tag your club if you want them, and we'll talk to Sarah. And every couple weeks she goes, got another one here. So it's really cool. It's word of mouth stuff.
You've been so busy with everything going on, so I appreciate you taking the time to do this.
For sure.
I've been putting out videos now for the last 8 years on Instagram. It's really been growing over the last year. A big thanks to you. Sure. Of course, a big thanks to everyone watching. So now it's time for people to learn a little bit about me.
Yes.
People are still mispronouncing my last name. It's Van Vliet. Dolph knows. Come on, you knew that.
Chris, I thought it was like Tris, that's the part I always got me.
Way.
Yeah.
So now, people always leave stuff in the comments asking questions, and I respond to most of them. But
by the way, that also goes along with your hustle. Is I do ask the heel stuff, so I get some questions here and there, but you actually go into those comments, find everyone who asked something, answer something, and go, the next time we'll get to this, or the next time we'll get to that. Yeah. And that's better than some big corporation saying we're going to do some interview, and we'll get to our 5 questions, and then that'll be it. And you're actually getting the questions from these fans and giving them back to them, and that's what probably increases one more viewer here, one more viewer here, and that's the hustling part that I appreciate.
Well, thank you. I'm a fan just like everyone else. I'm a fan that happens to have the chance to sit down with people like you.
Awesome. And usually it's usually a little bit longer hair if they're in the hotel room.
Look at these carts we made. By we, I mean me.
Yeah, I did not do any of this work, but I very much appreciate these questions.
Yeah.
I was going to Wayne's World it up and write some stuff on here.
You should have. Well, feel free to throw in any questions you might have.
I have a bunch, and a couple of them were in here, so we'll get right to it. So you already did the pronunciation of your name. I know you from Cleveland, but I know you were from somewhere very far away from Cleveland. Where did you grow up? And then we'll get to the nerdy wrestling.
Yeah, so I grew up in Pickering, Ontario, which is like about 20-ish minutes east of Toronto.
Okay. So that's pretty hot part of town. That's the New York City of Canada.
Oh, and Toronto's like the 3rd largest city in North America.
That's a great place to be. I love making fun of Canada, joke-wise, but Toronto rocks, man. We have a show there in SummerSlam coming up. We'll do a show there too.
So my family and friends are all still there. I lived in Toronto for 23 years. I had a show that I hosted in Vancouver. I lived in Vancouver for a year. Went back to Toronto.
Which did you prefer? Toronto, Vancouver, very different places.
Yeah, for sure. And Toronto's home,
yes.
So I obviously missed that. But Vancouver is the greatest city on earth.
Pretty awesome. Are you like a snowboarder guy? Do any of that stuff?
I ski.
Oh,
and I love hiking.
That's a great. So that's both of those things, right?
I love fishing, which there wasn't a ton of bass fishing.
Okay.
And I own a bass fishing company.
Whoa!
Well. Yeah.
Hey, congratulations.
It's called Woo Tungsten, as in Woo Tungsten. So if you've ever seen any of those interviews I do with the shirt that says Woo,
yes,
it looks like Ric Flair, but it's actually my fishing company.
That's just good branding.
Yeah.
Oh, so did you ever go to Pantages Theater?
Of course.
What'd you see there?
Phantom of the Opera.
Of course you did.
Yeah.
I'm not going to make this about me, but we took a bus trip in 7th grade because our teachers wanted to go see Phantom of the Opera. So they made it into okay, we're going to do this as a field trip for you guys. And we're like, okay.
Yeah, okay.
But we went to this afternoon matinee, and they had discounted tickets for groups of people and stuff in the afternoon for a bunch of school kids could get a slight discount. And but you're going to see the understudies. We're, okay. And then they made some announcement it's the real guys. Oh. And I was not macho, but a sports playing guy. I was like, this is dumb. And I watched it. 2 seconds in, I was like, whoa, this is pretty cool. And I loved the entire show, and I had a great time. What did you think? Was that one of the first things you saw? Or were you in theater otherwise?
No, I think that might be the only thing I've seen at Pantages Theater. Yeah. Although I have tickets to see Aladdin on Broadway in 2 weeks with my girlfriend in New York City.
And one of my favorite shows was SpongeBob on Broadway. Big fan. Oh man, Beetlejuice is coming soon too, a couple weeks. That's really cool. So did that have any effect on you, or did you wanted to get into what you were doing based on something else that came up, something that happened in your life?
So I've always been super passionate about broadcasting. I always grew up just being obsessed with radio broadcasters and television broadcasters. And when I was in high school, we had a communication studies class. And our communication studies class was us actually going out and shooting television programs.
That's awesome.
It was
15, 16?
Yeah, exactly.
That's crazy.
So we would write out segments, and then we would pick at the end of the week who had the best segment, and then we went and shot that segment in like small groups of 5 or 6, and I was always the on-camera guy.
Look at you.
There was an audio guy and a camera guy, but I was always the on-camera host guy.
Did you take that like for granted, or did you also get behind the scenes stuff? Like, I learned how to do this, I learned how to do this, but I'm just going to be the guy who can do everything.
I can do VTR and audio, and I did camera for the first year and a half of my career. So then when it came time, when you're 17 years old and they're like, what do you want to do for the rest of your life? You know, when you have to apply for college, I'm like, I don't know, that communication studies class was pretty cool. I guess I'll take communication studies. Right. And I took that. When you get to actual university, you're like, this is nothing. I'm not doing anything hands-on.
Oh, I was going to say, I thought it was just like a waste of your money, but no, that sounds like a great.
Yeah.
No,
I seriously majored in drinking. I mean,
there you go. I appreciate that. What was your go-to? I was a natural light guy. I was before all the Milwaukee's best time.
I couldn't drink beer till I was like 20-ish.
Because it's so gross, right? Yeah. It's so gross. No matter how good it is or who says it, like, this is gross thing.
Nobody drinks beer for the first time and goes, where's this been all my life? So I was vodka and anything.
Nice.
And you know, when you live in a college dorm and you run out of things to mix with, I remember chasing vodka with milk once.
Oh, in a bag? Was it in a bag?
It wasn't a bag.
What?
That's a Canadian reference for you.
That's so great.
I immediately puked after that.
And
then went, let's
so.
keep going.
Well, classic
of course.
College kid. Now, when you were doing your Man on the Street or your segments and you were on camera, did you think that I looked up to like Walter Cronkite or something? You're like, I need to have my voice that goes along with it? Or is it like wrestling where you're like, I look up to Mr. Perfect, I have to find a little bit of this and a little bit of this guy, and I'll do this look or have a catchphrase?
Yeah, I think that you think that you're being yourself,
right?
But you're clearly just emulating the people that you look up to.
And who was that at the time? At the beginning, early on, when you were doing those first couple.
I loved watching Joe Rogan on Fear Factor. We're talking way back.
Yeah.
I remember in college.
It's Joe Rogan with hair.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, not the shaved head deal. Yeah.
I remember in college, I used to, on a VCR, tape a show on Spike TV, or it was called the New TNN at the time, called The Ultimate Revenge. The show was awful, but there was this great host on it that I thought was so charismatic, and it just kind of leapt through the screen, and his name was Ryan Seacrest.
Oh, wow, that's really funny.
And then he got Idol like a year later, and I'm like, I
Who
saw
was
that
the
talent.
other guy that did Idol with him?
Brian Dunkelman.
Brian Dunkelman.
Who's a comedian, I believe. One of your fellow comedians.
Yes. You know, at the meetings, I think I've seen him before. That's awesome. So you went like, this is the guy that's doing it. Was it his catchphrase? Was it everything? Charisma? Was it like he was getting you into the show that wasn't that good?
Yeah, I've just always...
I can do this.
It's the charisma. And it's also like, I've always like really prided myself on not being too broadcasty.
Right.
Not being like, ladies and gentlemen, we're sitting down with Dolph Ziggler today. I've always just prided myself on like, the camera's on, I'm maybe slightly more amped up than normal.
Sure.
But it's like, it's well researched, and it's just like, you know, I'm just going out there and, you know, trying to make this real.
Right, yeah, and it's great. That's a huge difference when you do have, say, I was doing some radio this morning and you're like, so I hear that, and you're like, that it takes you out of the realism of it, because like you and I, we're just sitting here, we're amped up a little, but we're having a real life conversation, and that's what's best in wrestling promos, in wrestling life, or when you go, oh, what a great interview you guys just did, you were so comfortable. That's when you do have some people who do that voice or make it about like, this is some businessman reading off a cue card. You go, oh, this isn't a genuine interview. And I feel like a lot of times you have stood out to where you do a conversational thing and it really helps to do your homework, which I appreciate you.
Yeah, well, thank you. I just never want to be in a situation where I don't know what the person is talking about.
Right.
And the worst kind of interview, and anyone watching this that's trying to get into broadcasting or interviewing, the worst kind of interview is when you don't listen. The worst kind of interview is when someone talks about something, you go, okay, great. So on to the next subject I had written down.
You're like, oh, yeah, it's such a difference when it's conversational, I think, and then you do actually have that. Yeah, even if it's fun and normal and they ask you some cool question you want to answer and you answer and they're like, yeah, exactly like you said. You're like, so also, it turns out that you go pro bowling sometimes and you're like, oh, man. That's
well, I do.
Yeah. What's your average?
Oh, man. Come on. If I get
Is it true in Canada you guys use 11 pins? Is that true?
If I can get over 100 in bowling, I'm like, that is a good day, Chris Van Vliet.
I appreciate that. There's such a cutoff between being like having a decent game and it ends up being around 100, and you're like, I had a couple spares and a couple strikes. It's like 120.
And then some guy who's good.
Yeah, and it's like, oh, 250, 260, and you're like, what? How did you take 9 strikes in a row?
But that's just life in general. Like you golf with someone who's great versus like golfing with like someone like me who barely golfs. And they're like, oh man, I'm +4 today. I'm like, I'm +44.
Yeah. Oh God. When's the last time you golfed?
I golfed once this year. I had friends come in from Canada, and it was like
Got
February.
your own clubs?
Yeah. I'm a lefty.
Yeah. Lefties always gotta have their own.
My friends came in from Canada, and it was February or January or whatever, and they're like, dude, can we go golfing? We can't golf at home for like 3 more months. I'm like, sure, yeah.
Sure, man. Yeah. So that is a great segue into. So, what is your golfing attire like? Is it anything like the suits and socks and things that you wear now that we get to see on your Instagram all the time?
Yeah, and thank you for that. It's pretty boring.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, the shirt will be like fun, but
Okay.
I golf in shorts. I don't wear the fun
pictured
pants.
because of your. I figured the old Payne Stewart baggy pants and the checkered socks all the way up. But
if I golfed more, maybe.
Okay.
Yeah.
At least you got your own clubs. That's something.
Of course.
But so when you do, we see on Instagram where you're doing some interviews and stuff, you do some very sultry poses and looks on there. Some of them maybe not PG, which I blocked and reported you on many occasions. But
You're the guy.
it's for the kids.
Yeah.
People should be, censoring other people's speech whenever they feel it's wrong.
That's America.
That's just regular life. Yeah. So your outfits, your suits, your socks, whatever this thing's called,
Pocket square.
that thing too. All that stuff is amazing. Do you go somewhere? Do you have a tailor? I have 2 black blazers because one gets worn so much that I go dry clean it and I put the other one on until it comes back, and 2 pairs of black jeans that are so skinny sometimes they look like dress pants, and black Chucks, and I hide this fake business casual phoniness.
Yeah.
You go above and beyond business-wise, but also fun business. Where'd that start?
Well, for you, dressing up is putting sleeves on.
Yeah, which will never happen.
Exactly.
So.
For me, it was, I remember, so I worked for MTV2 in Vancouver. That was the show. I hosted a show called 969. It was basically like the Canadian version of TRL.
Oh, was there some, anger between Much Music and MTV2?
Oh, so we were on Much Music's sister station.
Ah, okay.
So I was like, so I'm not good enough to be on Much Music, but I can be on this other station.
Hey, you got to start somewhere.
So I was like t-shirt and jeans guy. I would even wear like backwards hat, and I wore skate shoes all the time. So that
like
show,
DC stuff, like the puffy.
of course, Etnies, yeah.
I gotcha.
So when our show got canceled after like one big media conglomerate got bought, by another one and kind of merged together, and they said, how do we cut costs? And I had this dream job that was amazing. I was interviewing celebrities and reviewing video games. And then out of nowhere, they're like, so we got bought by this other company. And I'm like, cool, we're moving to another office, new studio. Yeah.
Raises for everyone.
Yeah. And then they're like, so stop what you're doing, everyone.
Security will escort you out.
Seriously. And I was like, but I moved my whole life here. I packed up my 1995 Toyota Corolla and drove across the country, 47-hour drive.
Good gas mileage, though.
Oh, yeah, great.
Smart.
And then I'm like, what do I do now? So when I moved back and I was auditioning for things, and I finally did get a job on a show called Inside Jam on Sun TV, I was still wearing like the t-shirt and jeans, and I just noticed that like I didn't get received with the same amount of respect as when I was like a Much Music VJ.
Right.
And then when I moved to Cleveland, they were like, don't change anything. We like you who you are. And I remember going to my first junket, which is a celebrity like sit-down interview. You've done them before.
Lingo, yeah. Just did one for the dirt.
That's right.
No big deal.
So I went to a junket, and I was wearing like jeans, and it was for a movie called Dinner for Schmucks.
Oh my God!
Remember
Steve
that movie?
Carell
Yeah.
and maybe Paul Rudd or something. Yeah.
And I was wearing jeans and a shirt with a robot on it. And I remember
and sleeves like a sucker.
And sleeves, yeah. And I remember there was this guy walking around like with a suit on, and I noticed that everyone, like he was about my age, and everyone was like giving him so much respect. Whoa. And he's now one of my best friends. His name's Jake Hamilton, and I said, if I can dress up more like that, like instantly people change the way they look at you. Yeah. And it was actually through Jake wearing that I'm like, I gotta step my game up. I always had suits, but I brought them out for like red carpets or award shows. Then it was like, if I wore suits all the time, people instantly respect you that much more.
Yeah. So dress for the job you want, not the one you have.
And that was it. So I just want to step it up a little bit.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I keep going back to myself because I'm a very selfish and yet the humblest guy that you know. And I always find like We have a lax dress code now. It's been different in the past. We had like suit and tie in the old days.
Yeah.
And now it's like, if you have your tap out gear, you can wear shorts and a basketball shirt and shoes. And it's sometimes. So some overseas or a couple different. And I always found a way. I go, I don't dress anywhere near as well as you do, but I always have a blazer on, even though it's sleeveless tee underneath. No one knows. Blazer. And I will always not look like I just came from playing, at the local gym, a pickup game.
Right,
I will always do something, but you've gone above and beyond, and that does command some respect. Because if I saw you and didn't know you, I'd be like, and I was there to do something, I'd be like, man, this guy's got it figured out. Yeah. I look like a cheap ripoff, which I'm used to doing for like Mr. Perfect and Shawn Michaels, but you know what I mean. Not cheap, like $1 million a year, but like bottom line, like minimum.
Yeah, minimum.
But when you went above and beyond and got the suit, where did you go? Like, how did you start doing like the crazy socks?
So when I first went over to just being suit guy, I'm like, if I'm gonna have to be like buttoned up and wearing suits all the time, I gotta at least have something fun here. So I'd have fun socks on, which no one saw on TV, but I knew in my heart that was still like the skate shoe version of me being like, he's still alive in my socks.
I'm a cool guy. I didn't sell out. You guys sold out.
That's right.
You sold out.
And then that turned into like really like awesome liners on the inside of the jacket. Nice. Then like when you got a custom suit, you can put a monogram on the inside. So I started putting like catchphrases on the inside, like wrestling catchphrases. Like one says like, to be the man, you got to beat the man. And then it was just like, even if on the outside, like for the viewers that are watching on TV, even if I look buttoned up and put together, on the inside, I still know who I am.
I appreciate that to an extent. I think that's why I cut the sleeves off of all my shirts, even my dress shirts, just so I know underneath that I still got it all figured out.
I thought you wanted to look like IRS or something.
I wish. I can't pull off the suspenders. I mean, you probably could. I'm surprised you haven't.
I don't know.
So all that dressing up, standing out, I noticed it, and I'm already following you and watching your interviews anyway. What is your end game, suit-wise and career-wise, without making it too like, here's in 2 years we'll do this, like, what are you hoping for? Taking YouTube by storm, getting everyone more and more viewers and go, hey, who wants to bid on me being part of their channel or something? What's the end game for you?
The phrase that's defined my life is vague goals get vague results. Fair. Which means specific goals get specific results. Yeah. And there's so many people that go, I want to grow my YouTube channel. Well, if you get one more follower, one more subscriber, you grew your YouTube channel. So last year I made it a goal to get 100,000 subscribers by the end of the year. We got 100,000 subscribers by August. This year I said I want to double my subscribers and do 50 wrestling interviews. We've done, I think this is the 28th wrestling interview, and it's April.
Yeah, it's early.
And I'm at 34,000 subscribers as we sit here right now. Right. So that's my goal right now. If I look like future, like look ahead, my goal's always been to like be excited for what I'm going to do at the start of the day and be proud of what I've done at the end of the day. I don't think it really matters what company I work for. It doesn't matter what network I'm on. I just want to be pumped about what I'm doing. The fact that I get to sit and hang out with some of my favorite wrestlers and also you.
Yeah. Appreciate that. And your honesty. That's what makes me want to be a part of this terrible show.
But the fact that I can just do these interviews and put them out into the world and fellow fans can appreciate this, it's amazing. And YouTube's only going to keep getting bigger. Influencer marketing is highly underpriced right now. I think that that's going to be a future thing. So I'm 35 years old as I sit here right now. Going to be 36 next month. I can't wait for the gift that you're going to get me.
I'm thinking about it.
So who knows? By the time I'm 40, maybe we'll have I think we will have 1 million. Yeah, we'll have 1 million subscribers.
There you go.
Yeah.
No vague goals. You go for it. You say it. I'm going to have 1 million.
I think that's the goal. The goal specifically is 1 million followers by January 1, 2024. But I think that we can beat that.
I think you can too. Would you rather hit that goal in 2021, or would you rather be in NXT as a WWE superstar?
Me as a superstar? Yes. If you'd asked this question 15 years ago, first of all, I would have been like, what's YouTube?
Yeah.
But
superstar. I just watch wrestling.
I'll be a wrestler. 15 years ago, it was my dream and my goal to be a pro wrestler. And I went to wrestling school. I was trying to balance college and going to wrestling school at the same time, and something had to give.
Right.
Wrestling school was like $250 a month, which when you're in college,
that's $1 million.
That's a lot of beer.
God.
And it was in
suitcases of natural light. That is $9.99, $25. Yeah.
It was an hour drive each way. Plus, it was Tuesday, Thursday night, and all day Saturday, Sunday, which is awesome. That's the time you got to put in if you want to be a pro wrestler. and I trained for a couple months. Angelina Love was there at the time.
You don't need to name drop. I mean, I'm just asking your story. I mean,
so I did it for a couple months.
Something John Cena told me once was not to name drop.
Oh, really?
No, I'm just
So I was trying to do both, and I know the basics.
Yeah.
I can run the ropes. I can bump. I can do a universal
fall
spot.
down to the kids.
A universal spot.
Yeah. Wow.
Do you want to tell the kids what that means?
I'd rather watch you explain it.
That is a.
We call it the international in the biz, I guess, if you're not.
Oh, sorry.
No, but please.
It's international spot. You're right.
Either way.
Headlock into the ropes, drop down, leapfrog, hip toss. Right.
Something along those lines. Yeah, everybody has a tiny different spin on it.
That's what I learned.
That's the basic beginning. Sometimes it's like a drop kick, sometimes it's an arm drag, but it's, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
The basics are there. That's one spot that you could, I feel like in the old days without talking to each other, guys just shot each other up and knew where to go because, because they were all better than us and didn't do a bunch of flippy bullshit that we do. But you know what I mean. They told stories, by like punching each other 500 times.
I really did. I wanted to be a superstar. And I was a backyard wrestler. We've talked about this before.
Which I frown upon.
But when you're 16 years old,
I frown upon.
Yeah,
not.
But
backyards keep doing
my finishing move. So my name was Chris Sharp.
Woo!
Yeah, Chris.
Was
Sharp.
there like a moniker in the middle, like when you see boxing or MMA? It's like Chris the Hammer.
I was the professional Chris Sharp.
I appreciate
That's
that.
That's a pretty good
you
name.
Dressed like a professional.
Yeah.
I like that.
I had a white tank top on, the wife beater on, with a black leather suit jacket on top of it.
Whoa, fur is murder, but I still appreciate that. That's pretty awesome. I like that. I do a lot of latex and fake.
My finishing move was a swanton bomb set up by That's Incredible. Remember Just Incredible's finisher? It was a twisting tombstone.
Yes, holy cow. So who taught you to do the second part of your finisher?
Taught me? It's backyard wrestling.
You just go, I'll just jump like this and not land on my head?
It was crash mats at high school in gym class.
And you just went for it a couple times?
Yeah, and my friends were like, that looks really good.
Oh my God.
And then in the backyard wrestling, not a ring, but we had mats and we jumped off tables. And I've posted this on Instagram, so if you go way back far enough, you'll see this. Yeah.
That's some scary stuff, man. It scares me now.
When I look back at it, I'm like, what was I thinking?
But I watch ECW and go, these guys are working harder than those WWF guys. I know that's what I need to do, like get grimy and dirty and jump over a car and land on my back and stuff. So I was trying to do the same things, but I just kind of strolled in and got a contract handed to me. But everybody, a lot of people work hard.
That's your whole story.
Not me, but other people probably work really hard. So I've seen you've done some other things recently in the last couple months, I think, wrestling-wise. Like you were announcing or managing? What were you doing?
Yeah, so I'm a ring announcer for Blueprint Pro Wrestling in Deerfield Beach. I've been a ring announcer for a lot of different companies, but it's cool to just be part of something.
Yeah, hell yeah.
I actually don't get paid to do it. And if I was going to get paid, what would it be, like $20 or something?
Yeah, still.
So it's just like, I want to just be part of this. So I'm a ring announcer. I always enter the ring and I run the ropes a couple times just to be like, I also wipe my feet.
True pro.
Yep, to show real respect for the business.
I like that. Do you have someone that you've accidentally emulated, or you go, this is how announcing should be, I'm going to do my take on it, or was there?
Yeah, I've been told I sound more like Tony Chimmel.
Oh.
Yeah,
sorry, buddy.
I'm sorry.
Well, this interview's over.
You've had lots of people announce you. Who's your favorite ring announcer?
That's a great question. My first call to go on the road was Howard Finkel was in an office position at the time, and I was like in training, and I had a voicemail, and it was from a 203 number, and I was like, oh great, I'm fired again, and it was Howard Finkel, and he did his he loves the business so much that a call from the office to let me know that I was going to TV and sending me my travel was like, hello, Nicholas. Like, I can't do an impression of him, but he did it like I had just won the world title, and I saved that voicemail like over to other phones. It lasted a long time, and then one time I couldn't transfer it over. But it was amazing to get this first call up from that voice that you knew as a kid the whole time, and it was like, you will be, and I was going to Wichita Falls, Texas, and he made it sound like I was main eventing WrestleMania, and it was one of the coolest things that ever happened, and I'm bitter and over it now and don't care about stuff, but that I'll never forget. Listening to that voicemail, like, Howard Finkel's calling me, and it sounds like I'm in the main event of WrestleMania. What am I doing? Oh, getting beat up on Heat? Yeah, who cares? Who cares, It's an amazing thing. Like, I don't know, man. But so you kind of did a little bit Tony Chimmel, a little bit your own thing.
I think so.
Is there some like R twirling or anything? Is there something special that you do? A little spin before you point or something like that?
Oh, like a Bruce Buffer?
Maybe, I don't know, yeah.
It's time! I wish.
That was solid.
Yeah, I'm a ring announcer. I don't know if you heard that. I'm a
I-
professional broadcaster. I've won 4 Emmys.
Oh,
yeah.
congratulations. Daytime? Canadian Cable Ace
Regional.
Awards? How many of those?
I wish. I won 0 awards in Canada. Winning an Emmy, though, by the way, when you're from Canada, so I came over to the U.S. on a visa, on an O1 visa, which is the same visa that any Canadian wrestlers would have.
Okay.
The visa is only good for 3 years, and you can only work for the company who has sponsored your visa.
Oh,
so if I want to do like radio or write for magazines and do other stuff, which I've done, like played a reporter in a movie, I talked to an immigration attorney. They're like, you have to apply for a green card, and you're not just going to get one. You have to show that you've earned one by like winning awards.
Right.
So I'm like, well, I won like this award. And they're like, eh. I'm like, well, I'm nominated for 2 Emmys. They're like, yeah, you got to win one. So then like 3 months later when I won, I called him up immediately. I'm like, I won 2 Emmys. He's like, all right, well, put in your application now.
Oh, God.
Now I have a green card.
That's cool. It's a bigger deal than just winning them. You want them to like prove that your status.
Yeah.
That's pretty awesome.
And so that, the first thing you see when you walk in my house, no, that's not true. They're buried in a corner.
I don't believe that for a second.
Nah,
Maybe under some nice suit jackets with nice inner liners.
Maybe.
You've done this a while now. You're over 100,000 viewers on YouTube, like you were saying. You had to have had some kind of like Steven Seagal hosting Saturday Night Live interviews. Have you had some really hard ones, or like you couldn't get a word in, or what, like a terrible kind of, or someone's mad that they're there?
With the wrestling interviews, at least people are like, for the most part, happy to be here and on their time.
Who doesn't like talking about themselves? I think you're
I always
crazy
say that.
to not want to do that.
Everyone's favorite topic is themselves. Brutus the Barber Beefcake is not a great interview.
WWE Hall of Famer, Brutus the Barber Beefcake?
If you watch that interview, it's not awful, but it's certainly not good.
Okay.
Any interview with Nick Nemeth is...
Love that guy.
Yeah. I've had some celebrity interviews that don't go great, but that's different. When you're in the junket situation, you have a 4-minute interview.
Right. Oh, those are the worst.
Right.
And then the guy's like holding like 2, 1, and he's like, you can't do this, can't do this, just wrap it up. And you're like, oh.
So this is how it works. The celebrity sits in the same room for several hours, 4 or 5 hours, and new reporters every 4 minutes come in and ask
the same
a lot of the same questions.
Because you have to submit the questions too, because I did the dirt with these guys, and I had some questions were like insider terms or crazy thing, or how like who plays guitar here, and it was different, and they're like, here's what you can ask them.
Wow.
And you're like, So then you try and weasel your own stuff in there, but then someone can get mad and they're holding up 2, 1, wrap it up, go, and you're like, oh, like we're having a fun interview, like
Yeah. So I would say
being rushed out of some stuff, or
or
asking the wrong question. Right?
No, just like so.
That's great.
So I interviewed Jennifer Garner for a movie like 2 years ago, and she was just starting to go through the stuff with Ben Affleck, and Ben Affleck was just about to have Batman versus Superman hit theaters.
Okay.
So at the end of the interview, I thought it'd be a fun / cheeky thing to ask her.
Ooh, cheeky.
I said, big movie coming out in the next couple weeks. Are you on Team Batman or Team Superman? And she's like, I'm on Team Batman. Oh, of course. And I'm like, of course you are. All right, well, thank you so much. It's good to see you. And I walk out of the room, and as I walked out of the room, I had like 1 foot out the room. I hear her yell at me, that's a ballsy question, Chris. That's a ballsy question to fucking ask me.
What?
And I'm like,
it doesn't seem like it.
Sorry. Yes. And then her publicist like took me aside and was like, how could you ask a question about like that? And I'm like, I just asked about another movie. She's like, a movie that her ex-husband is in?
Oh, God. You know, there's so many ex-husbands in LA that you're bound to like do a Kevin Bacon crossover of somebody else's thing. And I appreciate you going for it.
So they were like, you've got 2 choices. I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
You can either leave here with the tapes and promise to not run that part of the interview, or we can spend some time editing that out and giving you new tapes right now. Which one do you want? And I'm like, yeah, just give me the tapes. It's fine.
I'll take care of it.
Then the next day she goes on the Today Show, talks all about her divorce, and my boss goes, screw that, and we ran the clip.
I appreciate that. I was going to tell you to run it anyway, but I'm
did.
so glad you caught her. Like, come on, man. If everyone's so coddled, it's no fun. Don't go pepper people and bother them. But if you're in an interview situation
Right.
and everyone's asking the exact same A, B, C, like, hey, this is funny.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
We don't have a ton of time because you got to get to your show. So
Yeah, you're right. First WWE interview.
my first ever WWE interview was Bobby Lashley in Vancouver when I was hosting that MTV show.
How long ago?
2007. He was the ECW champion at the time.
Whoa, that's crazy.
And I had a blonde patch in my hair like I was in an emo band.
Yeah.
For about 2 weeks, but during the
That was the whole run?
my boss was like, "Hey, when's your next haircut?" I'm like, "It's in like a month." She's like, "Actually, it's tomorrow."
Oh, God. I will go to a couple quick.
Okay, yeah, we got some fan questions here.
And I'll even interview them. Mention them. Sorry. Jaden Drinkall says, "Was it hard interviewing John Cena and not being able to see him?" Which I think is great.
Which that joke was never going to get old, is it?
No, I think it's funny as long as it's not repeatedly done in a demeaning way. It's a funny, stupid thing. That's life.
Here's a funny quick
Should be
story
funny.
about Cena. I just interviewed him in New York,
Yes.
and I interviewed him at the gym he was working out at. We were texting to make this interview happen, which was, by the way, incredibly cool that I was texting with John Cena.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome.
And I got to the gym, and I texted him and said, "I'm here." And he texted me and said, "Where are you? I can't see you." And I mean that in the literal sense.
Oh my God. He can't make the joke. Everybody else does. I don't want to brag, but I text with John Cena Sr. a bunch.
Hey.
No, I'm just kidding. But
JCS.
He does come to the Kowloon shows in Boston a lot.
Nice.
He's got some cool stuff. Brent wants to know, how do you get to do all these interviews? That's a great question.
I get asked that a lot,
yeah.
actually.
What's the deal? You get like a fake FBI badge or
That's
something?
right.
That'd be sick.
I'd say that the first thing is
Federal
having...
booby inspector, I think.
That's right.
That's the thing.
Having an outlet helps a lot. So whether you're writing for a website or you're, my day job, which we haven't really talked about, is I'm a TV host.
We're getting there, bro.
I host this show in Miami called Deco Drive. It's amazing. It's a dream job. I travel the world, interviewing celebrities, reviewing movies. Having an outlet helps. But if you have a podcast that you're starting to grow, or you have a YouTube channel that you're starting to grow, go to your local independent wrestling shows. They're probably going to have a big name there. Ask the promoter, "Hey, would you mind if I borrowed 5 minutes with whoever it happens to be?" Start to build your following through that, so that when you reach out to someone who's maybe at a higher tier, you can say, "Hey, I've interviewed this person, and this person. Can I also interview you?" And also, make it about them. Don't be like, "This is going to be really good for me. Can you really do this for me?" Be like, "Hey, I have X amount of subscribers or X amount of reach. This is going to be really good for you if you do this."
And if you're doing a real interview where it's not me trying to get my zings in when I can, it's back and forth, and it really is. They're talking about themselves to promote. If one more person goes to that show, they're happy to have you back, and then you're putting their name out there, and they get a couple followers, and then someone else, it's just it's not simple, but people don't want to do that extra step, and you do that, and that's how you get your foot in the door.
I DM a lot of people. I email a lot of people.
I do too, but it's totally different.
I'm now at the point where I can text Dolph Ziggler, and sometimes he responds.
Sometimes. Usually it's just like the middle finger emoji.
Yeah.
Which, great segue. I have a question from Ryan N. in LA. Is Dolph Ziggler really an a-hole in real life? I won't say what was written because,
that's
like I said, people should be censored
Wow,
more.
our
decide.
Nemeths wrote that? Sorry, Ryan Emma. And
Nemeth, yeah, I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, one of those two. Yeah.
No, you're actually one of the best, and I'm serious. He laughs, but it's true.
It's written on the card, so he had to say it.
One of the best. Yeah. No, you've always been so kind to me. We've known each other for like 7 or 8 years.
I feel like it's way longer.
9, whatever it's
Something,
been.
yeah. It was when I was in Cleveland, or what's that?
Yeah.
I'm still looking to fly out to Phoenix and find a place.
Our first interview, you were still with Vicky.
Oh my God, that's a long time
it's like
ago,
2011,
man. Yeah,
I
people
think.
forget that it's a long time.
Yeah,
I forget.
Yeah.
Oh God. So Jordan wants to know: do you read all the comments?
I do.
I think we know the answer.
Yeah,
to
I
that.
read all the comments. I heart a lot of them, especially in the first hour. Like a lot of the comments pour in, and I'll respond to them. It would be no comment makes me happier than I just subscribed.
Oh, that's a good one. So if you're gonna check out his video. If you're going to enjoy it, if you're going to like it, subscribe. It's so simple. It's one more click. It helps you out. It helps you get your name out there, gets your clout score, whatever the hell you were saying.
Whatever it is.
What's your reach? What was it? Social media? Or what was that? You said some kind of a thing.
I don't know.
Some in the biz term that I don't get, even though you kind of throw around wrestling terms. Greg Cusack wants to know, what's your favorite match of all time?
Favorite match of all time is WrestleMania 18, Rock Hogan. I was there, 16th row.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Those are great seats. I can't get 16th row to WrestleMania. Well, I mean, I'd have to have a match.
16th row to WrestleMania back then and I still have the ticket stub, so I have the poster.
It's a different time.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I can't wait to hear this.
This is 2002. I'm as old as WrestleMania. So WrestleMania 18, I was 18. I was... I think we paid. No, I have the ticket stub because I have the posters. Rock Hogan. Hogan even autographed it for me, and the ticket stub is $127.
I feel like that's nosebleed now at best. At best. Yeah. But then you get a 9.5 hour show plus the main event plus whatever else.
There you go.
So you got to go bank for the buck. I think there. Go-to karaoke song from Daniel Feingold.
I Want It That Way. Backstreet Boys.
Whoa. Do you know all the movements and the motions and different things like Zack Ryder, like how he knows the dances?
I don't want to brag, but
you know them all.
That's a real crowd pleaser too.
That's true. And then people like me who kind of know the music can like roll my eyes and make fun of me, but kind of know half the words.
Half the words. Yeah.
I'm sorry. I have a tattoo on my lower back of them. BSB for life. Okay, how it all started for you? We did that already. Ever trained to be a superstar? These are great questions that we segued into accidentally. We did worst interview, dream interview. Ooh, dream interview. Let's go out on a high note.
Yeah.
What is one thing you said you got that goal of 1 million subscribers? What is the dream get for Chris Van Vliet?
And I think it's attainable. Triple H.
Oh my God! Yeah, of course it is.
So Triple H and Vince are kind of like the co-dream.
I can see that. If you had to pick one of those two,
Vince, of course.
Vince.
Because he doesn't really do a lot of interviews.
Yeah,
I don't know if
very few.
I don't know if he would like my style of conversational interviews, but Vince is at the top. That's the person I would love to get an interview with Vince, even if it was just 5 minutes.
Yeah, to pick just to have a regular conversation, but also know when you hear I don't know too much, but you read back all these stories about WrestleMania, putting everything and all this collateral in to make it's make or break and have it go and just continue on to what it is now, which is an unbelievable phenomenon around the globe. It's unreal, man.
Yeah, it's
As a fan, to watch that grow, it's crazy.
Yeah.
And I don't have to say this at all, but it's nuts, man. The business is booming everywhere. And to get 5 minutes alone with him and just talk and pick his brain and be like, man, what a world and what a life, I think.
Well, you've had 41 minutes to pick my brain.
Yes.
Thank you, by the way, for this.
Sure. Well, people should thank me more often.
They really should.
Yeah.
Dolph Ziggler, the comedian.
Listen to the laughs.
Yeah.
That's great.
No, but seriously, thank you for doing this. Thank you
sure.
for always being so kind to me, taking the time to do this. Thank you to everyone who's watching this, or if you're just listening to this, you're missing out on Dolph's sleeves that aren't here.
And they never will be, because I will not be a salad. Even if you invite me to the wedding, it'll be the tuxedo t-shirt, sleeves off.
I would totally invite you to my wedding. Maybe just a cummerbund.
Would
you come to my wedding?
If I had the day off, absolutely.
I'm not engaged or anything, but...
But still, think about it.
Yeah, wow, Dolph Ziggler at my wedding?
Yeah, wouldn't that be great?
Wow.
The next interview, we'll start going over, tasting cake and stuff like that. Yeah,
if things go...
We don't even have to worry about
things go well with
someone.
the current girl, it would be in your home state.
And it must be great to be known as the current girl. I think that's a great way to end this interview. I think you should go online, subscribe, follow him on Twitter and Instagram, mostly Instagram for the likes, to do it, and check him out and subscribe. Hit that extra button on YouTube, and he can get better and better and bigger interviews because of you.
Dolph Ziggler. What a guy, right? I couldn't have gone any better. I was planning for that to be 10, maybe 15 minutes max, because who wants to listen to me talk for any longer than that? But here we are 41 minutes later, and that was a lot of fun. So thank you to you for continuing to watch this. I had a blast. That was great. And this right here, Woo! That's what we mentioned during the interview. That's my fishing company, Woo Tungsten. We sell tungsten products for bass fishing. This right here, we also talked about vague goals, get vague results. And that's like a phrase that has completely defined my life. So thank you for being one of my subscribers and helping me get to the specific goal this year of 200,000 subscribers. And also that goal of 1 million subscribers by 2024, which I think is like totally achievable. Also, the specific goal of interviewing Vince McMahon. Let's make this thing happen. If you have any other questions for me, I think we should do another video like this, maybe with another WWE superstar, or maybe just me talking straight to you, to the camera. Drop those questions or comments below, and we'll get to them next. A question I always get asked is, who are you interviewing next? And if you follow me on Instagram, I posted last week who I'm interviewing next, and it's a big one. I'm maybe more excited about this than any interview I've ever done. Through Chris Jericho, I had him set up an interview with Tony Khan, who is like the Vince McMahon of AEW. So if you have any questions for Tony, you can also leave them below. And if you don't, if you're not following me on Instagram and you didn't know that that was my next interview, it's my name, @ChrisVanVliet. Follow me now, and then you'll know who my next interview is going to be. I'm pretty jacked about this. This was fun. This was great. I'm going to link up to the very first interview I did with Dolph Ziggler right here. And since I talked about the Brutus the Barber Beefcake interview being not awesome, I'm going to put that one right there. And of course, the subscribe button is right there. Tony Khan interviews next. Woo!